Hello, good evening. My name is Fabian, and this is for We the People. And currently, right now, we are approximately 29 weeks away from the election. The Democratic Party has settled on their nominee. We are facing the worst pandemic in our lifetimes. And right now, people are suffering mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, and in just about every other way that you can imagine. It has shaken most of us to our core. I'm grateful because my job was deemed essential. So I continue to receive an income. I'm able to pay my bills, and I'm able to have money in case things continue to get worse. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who don't have that. Whether it's because they've been working parents or caregivers for their elderly parents or disabled children, people who are pregnant, or people who have other healthcare issues that make them especially susceptible to what's going on right now. What we need is for people to have the peace of mind that when something like this happens, that they'll have the income that they need to pay their bills, to keep their phones on so that they can communicate with their loved ones, their employers, for those who've had to telecommute, and for those who have been unable to attempt to work in the gig economy so that they have some kind of money coming in. We need to find a better way. We need to create a living wage. We are well past time to do so. And when we attempted to do this during the New Deal, unfortunately, it was allowed to stagnate many decades ago. And now is the time to rectify that. Now is beyond time for it to be indexed against the economy, against the GDP, against something other than the whims of those who happen to be in Congress. We can't allow for them to vote arbitrarily when or if they're even going to raise the wage. This is unsustainable, and it has been, because even 30, 40 years ago, people were able to not only buy homes and provide for their families, but also go to college while working one job, maybe two if both parents worked. And they graduated with very little student loan debt and were able to capitalize on the housing market that is at nearly an all-time high, all things considered. But unfortunately, like myself and many others in my peer group, that's not true. Even though I didn't graduate from college myself, I was fortunate because the time that I did spend in college, I had a scholarship. And others have had to get loans, some 6 figures, for just their first 4 years, let alone if they wanted to go back for a master's or a doctorate. And they are in so much debt that it may take 20 or more years for them to pay that off, not even including attempting to buy a house or raise a family. This is simply unbelievable that we have allowed our country to get to this point. It is our responsibility to ourselves that we demand that our government creates and maintains laws that minimize the opportunities for this to ever happen again. And I know many people will call this socialism or other forms of government that penalizes the wealthy. And that is not at all what I am hoping or advocating for. In fact, quite the opposite is true. I want to give more people the opportunity to buy homes, to raise their family, to start businesses, and to do everything else that this country says is possible. But in order to do that, we have to enable those who are working 2 and 3 jobs just to survive, to be able to have the time to better their skills, to better their children, to better their opportunities. And this is a perfect time to do that. We are in an election year. And unfortunately, the current administration has shown that they are not at all invested in the betterment of the people. They have seek to destroy and dismantle all of the work and provisions of any of the previous administrations. And now more than ever is the time to change that. We need to vote in politicians who are progressive, and that they are going to be aggressive in making laws and policies that benefit the people, so that people can provide for themselves, so that people can improve this country. We need to restore our status as one of the most competitive, innovative, and a place where you can genuinely pursue happiness in whatever form that might look for you. And we have made progress, but progress has been slow and hard fought. Now, more than ever, we need to put the pressure on ourselves and those we elect to make sure that this country works for all of us and not for the few. If you agree with me, please vote. Vote in your local elections. Vote in the national elections. Make sure that in so much as you're willing and able, that you know what kind of policies and laws that your politicians are advocating for, what they're willing to fight for, and what they're willing to live for and with. So, please join me as we seek to continue to move towards the election in November, to make sure that we have our voices heard, that our needs are met, and that we can truly be the country we proclaim to be. Again, my name is Fabian Cruz, and this is for We, the People.